The Tokyo Game Show has touched down in Japan, and we're going to go through my favourite games from the show. In related video game news, Sony has announced the PlayStation Classic. Conor McGregor has his first press conference with his future opponent Khabib. And also on today's episode, Batman's penis has been revealed for the first time by DC Comics Black Label. I go by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you're witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show. Right, people, there's quite a lot of shit going on at the moment. Too much of it to cover in one Johnny Massacre show. So let's just plough through haphazardly this news that I've amalgamated for you today. You might notice there wasn't a Johnny Massacre show yesterday. Well, there was for a little bit, and then I deleted it because it was shit. So I'm going to make this one better. And we're going to start with the Tokyo Game Show. So this is a big exhibition in Chiba, I believe. And Chiba's just a little bit outside of Tokyo, no man's land. You never go there for any reason other than some big events, and they occasionally have them out there. And so I was just looking at the news relating to the TGS, and there isn't really a whole lot. It seems to have just kicked off, but a few people who call themselves journalists have been giving a little bit of info. It looks quite fancy. There's a lot of money in the TGS. There's all these big monsters and stuff from games that are about 3 times as big as people towering over the show. And I just thought, what a waste of money. Why don't you just show the game? No one really cares about that stuff. But I guess the journalists who were there, they're all reporting back. So the various game developers want to leave a good feeling with the journalists. And apparently by spending shitloads of money on big displays is the way to do that. Let's have a look at the PlayStation games that are going to be coming out soon that will be shown at the TGS. So this is an article by pushsquare.com, and they've got a full list of games here from Sony. Interestingly, there seem to be about 20 games for the PlayStation VR, and that's something I really want to see. I played the PlayStation VR at my brother's place at Christmas, and I absolutely loved it, but there aren't many games out for it. It seems like a trend these days when people release hardware but don't have any games for it. Like the Microsoft Xbox One X, there's no specific games for it as of yet, and the same is the case with the PlayStation VR, but now there seem to be more games coming. Ace Combat 7 tops the list, so I can imagine that would be pretty decent with VR. And I guess the controls wouldn't be too bad for that either. Tetris doesn't seem so exciting. Golf game, whatever. As long as they're full games and not kind of crappy little displays of the power of the PlayStation VR, I'm going to be happy. So if I go back to England for Christmas this year, hopefully I'll be playing some of those. And then as for PlayStation 4, you can see an absolute shitload of games here. Again, Ace Combat 7, we've got God Eater 3, Soul Calibur 6. That's a pretty big deal. Capcom Beat 'em Up Collection, Devil May Cry 5, Mega Man 11, Resident Evil 2 Remake. The list goes on. And as far as Resident Evil 2 Remake goes, yes, you couldn't see me on camera just then because I'm in my underwear. I can't be showing that, can I? I'm going to get demonetized. Speaking about Resident Evil 2, they released a new trailer specifically for the TGS, which is very exciting. And I would like to share that trailer with you now if you haven't seen it. Resident Evil 2 Remake. I really hope there's co-op in this because I just got a PlayStation 4 and I want to play it with my mate Luke. So I'm going to bring it up for you now. Here is the new Biohazard or Resident Evil 2 trailer.
Peggy 18.
What's your mom like?
She works at Umbrella.
Oh dear.
So where's your dad?
He,
That is so gross. I love that. I think I remember that monster from the original Resident Evil 2. Pretty easy to kill, but it just looked amazing. I wish Resident Evil would go back to this infection vibe.
There's a lot of theories, but all I know for sure is that this place is crawling with zombies.
Great graphics.
Leon.
Get down! Come on!
Always saving the women.
I'll be there!
Looks
sure
quite
you've eaten
spooky.
By the way, rumor has it go straight to your underground lab.
I don't remember any of this stuff from the original game.
You gotta be kidding me. Get off of me!
Get the hell out of here. Before it's too late.
Cheesy character.
What's going on here?
Sorry. That information's classified.
Seems to be evolving much faster than expected.
Nobody cares about that. They want to know the G virus. What exactly are you looking for?
More info on the people responsible for this mess.
What the?
Damn.
You hurt her.
Identify yourself.
Stop! You'll never get the G virus! Sherry, come on!
Damn. This guy's fucked up.
Daddy, no!
Fuck that thing. Seriously. Fuck that. Look. It's on the elevator.
Claire, wake up!
After you.
Gee, thanks.
It wouldn't be a Resident Evil game without the bad Japanese dialogue. I think that's actually part of the genre. You know how some of these weird quirks become associated with genres for no reason at all other than the original material was so popular. Like Blade Runner, for example. Blade Runner has forever associated the future with being dystopian and having Japanese neon symbols everywhere. And so in the same way, I just think the horror genre, the zombie horror genre in games kind of needs to have bad acting or it's not the same. There's something about having bad acting in a zombie survival horror game. Badly spoken English, directed by Japanese, that adds a lovable quirk to it. So yeah, true to form, the Resident Evil acting is pretty poor, but that is no bad thing. It's actually makes me feel quite nostalgic, and I just think this game looks awesome. The original Resident Evils were the best, everyone knows it, and the series with the addition of Resident Evil 5 went a little bit too action style, and Resident Evil 6 didn't do very well, and that was over the top ridiculous action. They tried to bring it back with Resident Evil 7. To be honest, I didn't really play the game, but it looked like it still was missing the point. It's about zombies and it's about infection and about claustrophobic environments. And number 7, while claustrophobic, it was a bit too paranormal. I think it was trying to copy the legendary unreleased game demo known as PT, directed by Guillermo del Toro, the director who recently won an Oscar for some liberal fish movie, and also the director of a great movie called Pan's Labyrinth, and the I've forgotten his name now, but the creative director Kojima of Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, PT was a game that they both made, and it's unreleased, and it was just one of the most interesting and scariest games I ever played. And it looks like Resident Evil has been kind of copying that, and it's not really about the paranormal. It's about body horror. It's about Romero style zombie cliches, and of course, as I mentioned, the bad Japanese directed dialogue. So this looks like it's going to be decent. I can't remember any of the stuff in the game in the trailers from the actual game, so it looks like there's a lot of new material for this remake, but I can't see how Capcom are really going to fuck this up, because Resident Evil 2 was great. If they just respect that game and try to copy it, but also add a few new mechanics, which they have in the viewpoint and stuff, it's not the over the shoulder view, I think it's first person, this could be an awesome game. So that's something else from the TGS that I'm really looking forward to. Another game that I'm looking forward to from TGS is Samurai Spirits. This is a game by SNK, and I think the famous title is Samurai Showdown, correct me if I'm wrong, but anyways, Samurai Spirits was a 2D fighting game, and it was loved by fans of the genre. Still quite underground these days because it was massive in Japan mainly, but there's a new Samurai Showdown type game, and they've basically seemed to have copied the route that Capcom went with Street Fighter, where they made it all 3D. This looks just like Street Fighter. If it plays like that with the Samurai Showdown characters, this could be kind of amazing. Let's have a look at this now. I'll bring it up for you. Okay, here is the here's the trailer for Samurai Spirits.
時は天明7年、新たに老中の任に就いた松平定信により寛政の改革が執り行われた。しかし各地の飢饉や大火、打ち壊しによる混乱は
Okay, so if you're just listening to the podcast version, of course this is a Japanese voiceover over some historical Japanese painting of a war, so it's setting the tone. Okay, so that's coming out next year. It basically looks like Street Fighter 5 with swords, and this game was always in Street Fighter's shadow. I think that's how journalists always saw it, Street Fighter with swords. But the original games were awesome. I remember playing one of them with my cousin. There's loads of secret moves and a lot of cool Japanese ninja culture stuff in there. So yeah, that should be a very, very great game. I'm super looking forward to that. Okay, and there's one more game that caught my eye called Disaster Report 4, because this is the most Japanese looking game I have ever seen. I just have to show you this. It's kind of hard to work out what the hell it's about, but it's inspired by the natural disasters that Japanese people have to put up with, such as earthquakes. let me bring this up for you. So this is Disaster Report 4 plus Summer Memories. Again, Japanese people directing the English title always leads to unexpectedly hilarious results. Here is the game. So you got this generic Japanese pop music. This is so not meant for the Western market. Look, and it's really out of place. All these people are mourning their dead family in the rubble, and you got this chilled J-pop song. I swear I know this place. This is so like real Japan. Jumping over those railings, we all have to do it. Crush our nuts doing so. Look, it's the apocalypse, but we've got this happy, feel-good song. Look at this douchebag. This guy's such a douche. I've seen so many people like this in Japan. Just a salary man slaving away for the system. Look, sexy. There's time for a bit of sex. Her skirt's ripped. That's perverted. What is going on? And it's in the apocalypse. See, this is what Shenmue should have looked like. The classic Shenmue game on the Sega Saturn. Or Dreamcast, I should say. But the building's on fire. So what, is she a journalist or something? And there was a serious bit of footage there. It would have made feminists go nuts. The guy pushing the woman over. See, I love weird games like this. Back in the days, literally 90% or more of games were Japanese, because it was just Nintendo and Sony who were kicking ass. And then, you know, Microsoft got involved, and the gaming industry basically became Americanized. I guess most of the big franchises these days are made in America, you know, Call of Duty and so on. But back in the day, all games were Japanese, and now games like this look well out of place. But back in the days, because all games were Japanese, a lot of them came across like this, not understanding Western culture at all. But because there was no alternative, you didn't really question it that much. You just went along with it and kind of laughed at it. And the games had a real weird kind of charm. So, yeah, that's not a game I'm going to be buying, but I just thought it would be interesting to show you a ridiculously Japanese game, Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories. Now, keeping on the topic of games, the PlayStation Classic has been announced. This is following in the footsteps of Nintendo, who released the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, which is re-releases of their classic consoles coming preloaded with games. But the console's really small and cute because, of course, the technology back then has been refined so much to the point that today you can fit the same tech into a much smaller space. And so the NES and SNES Classic were ridiculously popular. And there was a lot of scalpers selling these units for double or triple the value. It was so annoying. Like, you go into Amazon, which is a major online retailer, and it's just flooded with scalpers trying to sell you shit at 3 times the value. They really need to sort their system out. I don't think there's really a way around it, because you can try to put measures in place to limit people to one system, but if these people are crafty, they'll find a way to get loads of systems on the day and then just flog it, aka sell it for more money. I just think that's bullshit. On Amazon, that looks weird. As a major retailer, it shouldn't be flooded with scalpers. So the PlayStation Classic is going to contain about 20 games, and for some reason they only announced a few of the games. I guess they're trying to drag out the PR campaign or whatever. But of the games announced, they're all fan favorites. Tekken 3, which I think is the best Tekken, really. Final Fantasy 7, which many regard as the best Final Fantasy game ever. I remember that on the PlayStation 1. The story is super weird. Wild Arms and Ridge Racer Type 4. Ridge Racer 1 launched the PlayStation to the world. That was a launch title. And although it probably looks kind of shit today, it was amazing at the time. Way better than what the rival Sega with their Saturn console had to offer. Even though I love the Saturn more, maybe. And another game you'll get is Jumping Flash. This is a very weird-ass game, very Japanese. I remember when this came out back in the day, and I think I rented it, because back then you'd like rent fucking games from the store. And you're this mechanical rabbit, and you jump around this level. And at the time, the graphics were fucking amazing. Seriously, I can't remember what the hell this game is about. But I'm going to show it to you anyways. I'm sure a lot of people watching have never heard of this game, Jumping Flash. Let's flick it on, yeah. So, ridiculously Japanese looking game. I don't know what the fuck's going on. There's robots though. There are robots. That is a dead giveaway. This is from Japan. They have a robot obsession.
Ready to go?
And here we go. So look, you're bounding along, and honestly, this was probably... This has got to be one of the first ever free roaming 3D games. Seriously. It doesn't actually look that bad by today's standards. Come on, it's not that bad. So yeah, this is on the PlayStation Classic, this weird game. I just thought I'd show you that. And interestingly, straight from the horse's mouth, from Sony themselves, they announced that the Japanese PlayStation Classic and the Western or American PlayStation Classic are actually going to have different games, although they haven't said what they are yet. And that's basically what Nintendo did as well. The Japanese version had different games. So yeah, I got my brother a Japanese version of the NES Classic for Christmas. He was well happy about that. Now, as I think I mentioned, there were shortages of the NES Classic I did, because I mentioned the scalpers as well. So apparently Nintendo was going to stop producing the NES Classic in 2017 as well, and they actually kept the run going, and they're going to keep it going until the end of 2018, because they were surprised at the high demand originally. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because these classic consoles just sell out immediately. And in spite of the warnings by the past releases, Nintendo had the same problem with the SNES Classic. And so I'm pretty sure that unless you get a pre-order in now for the PlayStation Classic, you're going to miss out. So I looked online, where can you pre-order it? This is for any American viewers. Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, and Amazon. So I actually I clicked the links. Excuse me. I clicked the links and looked to see if you could pre-order them. So here's what I got. Amazon.com, currently unavailable. Best Buy, coming soon. GameStop, you can get it from GameStop. And Walmart, out of stock. So it's sold out in a day. And only on GameStop, they're still selling it. Let me refresh the page. I wouldn't be surprised if it's sold out by now. Still going. So this thing's going to sell out. It's released December the 3rd. If you want it as a Christmas present, the only way you're going to get this is with a scalper. So PlayStation Classic. Pretty exciting all round. Got to be honest. So in other news, Conor McGregor had his first press conference with Khabib, his upcoming opponent. I believe that this is on 6th of October. And it was a bit of a weird one. Let me tell you what I took away from this. So there was no audience for a start. The reason UFC became so big, and so did McGregor, is because of his theatrical press conferences. He's an entertainer. This guy is a born entertainer. He loves the camera. And the atmosphere of the crowd responding to his put-downs, disses and jokes really built him into the legend that he is. I don't know the reason behind UFC closing this to the public. And McGregor knows how important the public are because they always get on his side. And that gets inside the head of his opponent. So UFC really did his opponent Khabib a favour by not letting there be a live audience there. And McGregor said days before this press conference that it will be open to the public, and then said some shit like, if you buy 2 bottles of my Irish whiskey, something I covered on a previous Johnny Massacre show. He just launched his own whiskey range, did Conor McGregor. If you bring 2 bottles of his whiskey, you get to skip the queue and come in to watch the press conference. But there was no live audience there, and so it played into his opponent's hands. It looks a bit weird without any laughter or crowd reactions going on, right? So of course it does. If you have a comedy show and you don't have the laughter, it kind of takes away from it. And that happened. It's a little bit embarrassing. Now, McGregor was drunk in this press conference and he was promoting and drinking his whiskey. And this leads me to believe he's going to lose this match. His opponent has never lost a match. And he's an amazing grappler. He's like a black belt in grappling. McGregor's sole loss in the UFC came from tapping out and getting choked by Nate Diaz. And so Conor McGregor, his grappling could be his weak point, especially coming up against this guy Khabib. And so McGregor getting drunk before the fight of his life is not a good sign. Whenever you see a public figure or a celebrity drinking in public in places where you wouldn't normally want to have a drink, such as when you're going to work to sell the very fight you're starring in the press conference, it's a really, really bad sign. It's a seriously bad sign. I think McGregor is actually an alcoholic, because after his loss to Mayweather, he was drinking that whiskey right after the show, hours after that huge event. And you've seen him drunk before in other places, and now he's drunk in this presser. What the fuck is he doing? His trash talk was amazing as usual, but he was stuttering a little bit, and you could tell it was because he was drunk. Now, if he is making mistakes in the presser and giving his opponent even the smallest bit of hope that he's not on top form, that's a massive mistake. These are 2 fighters who are trying to destroy each other, and McGregor has to get inside his mind and destroy him verbally before the fight starts. And getting drunk hindered him. When you get drunk, you slur your speech, you make stupid comments, you get angry quickly, and that's basically what happened. McGregor still kicked his ass. The problem is, if an audience was there, it would have been amazing. It would have been a classic maybe, but McGregor feeds off that. So that's an interesting look at the psychology before the fight, how the fight is won and lost before the fight takes place. And McGregor's tactic is his amazing showmanship, his amazing trash talk, bolstered and validated and catalyzed and whipped up by an adoring crowd. So I can't understand why they didn't put a crowd in there. What a massive PR opportunity missed by UFC. Seriously, who organizes this stuff? Why would you not have the public in the press conference? So Conor McGregor, offered Khabib a drink, and Khabib is a Muslim, so of course he can't drink it. And why would he drink it anyways? And then when his opponent refused the drink, McGregor called him a backwards cunt, impersonating his accent. So I think you're going to see some SJW articles in the near future about how McGregor hates Muslims and is a racist and all this kind of stuff. McGregor's always been very much on the edge of what's acceptable, often crossing it and getting sued or in trouble. So yeah, this is McGregor's way. It was also McGregor started talking about the history of Khabib's country and started calling his people cowards and cunts. And the range of McGregor's targets for his trash talk is just endless. I think he even went back to 17th century Irish history when he was talking about his ancestors and how tough they were in comparison to his opponents. So yeah, McGregor's nuts. And there was another joke where Khabib said something about Conor McGregor posing with Putin, and then Conor McGregor was asking him, are you disrespecting Putin? Are you disrespecting him? And that seemed to unsettle his opponent. Khabib really had to back down then because, yeah, you can't disrespect the Russian president. You'll get a hit put out on you. So that was pretty good tactical warfare by Conor McGregor. And look, his opponent Khabib just sucks in presses. He's so dull. He just sits there and kind of chuckles along, and I don't think he can even understand much of what his opponent's saying. And if Khabib was facing anyone else, the press conference would be so dull. And in spite of Khabib's lack of energy and engagement, McGregor still made that press conference what it was. He's such an amazing salesman and a showman. He hypes a fight like no one else. And you can see that in the way he sold his whiskey, the way he picked it up and was selling his whiskey. You just wanted to buy it. He's so charismatic and he's so quotable, and he comes out with so much footage that just looks awesome when you watch it back. That he's a money magnet, is McGregor. I've got to say, I think he's done though. I've looked at his opponent fight, and although he might have not had the strongest opponents always, his grappling is so good. I think McGregor tires later in the rounds, and I think if this starts going the distance, McGregor, when he gets tired, this Khabib guy, when he gets on top of you and starts ground pounding you, he doesn't finish through ground pounds, but it just wears you away. And I think the fact you're seeing Conor McGregor drinking in this press conference weeks out before the fight, that is not a good sign at all. That also shows a lack of focus, and no one should be doing that a couple of weeks out. If McGregor does win, it's going to be madness. His popularity is going to, you can't even imagine. And where next for him? Is he going to go back into boxing? Who knows? But that press conference just happened. I slept all the way through it, but I just caught a little bit of it on YouTube when I woke up. So Batman's penis, oh my fucking god. So yeah, apparently Batman's penis has been displayed for the first time ever in just ever anywhere. So DC Comics have launched this new line called Black Label, which is supposed to be more adult and mature. And my SJW radar or sense was tingling when I saw this news, because I thought, for want of a better word, because I thought, why are they sexualizing Batman that blatantly? Why are they showing his penis? Is this some feminist writer trying to just, I don't know, embarrass men or something like that? Is he going to have a Donald Trump style penis, according to Stormy Daniels? A toadstool, who knows? Because I thought, if this is Black Label and it's supposed to be adult, surely that means if you're showing Batman's dick, you're going to show some tits as well. So you're going to have, you know, the DC Wonder Woman with their tits out and all that kind of stuff. Are we going to get that in the Black Label? I think not. So I'm a bit worried this is SJW-ish, but the writer for the story is not an SJW writer, although there was one initially slated to be involved with this alongside Frank Miller, the legend who recreated Batman into the Dark Knight we all know and love today. But I don't see her now writing any of the stories, so I think DC avoided the SJW stuff. But anyways, Batman's penis. This show is probably going to be demonetized or taken off YouTube, because I don't think I'm supposed to show this. If I do, it means you're not going to buy the comic, because that's probably the only reason someone's going to buy this comic is see Batman's dick. But anyways, let's get it up here anyways, right? Here is Batman's penis for the first time ever. So on the right, you're seeing the digital version. It was censored out of the digital version, but in the print version, you can see it there. It looks like he's Jewish. Who would have thought? And now apparently with the new prints that are coming out, it's also going to be censored. So DC has created this potential collector's item by displaying Batman's penis only on the first run of their printed edition of DC Black Label Batman. So yeah, Batman's penis has been exposed. Moving on from Batman's penis, it's time to talk about my life. Okay, so today I think I woke up at 11 something. That's the latest I've woken up for a long time. I got to be slipping, man. I was getting up at 5 a.m. My diet's slipping, everything's changing. It's a rocky, slippery road. But it's still cool. It's still cool. Everything's good. So what's going on in my life? Not much. Just hibernating like a wild animal. Every time I hit the weights, every time I do that, the next day or 2 days afterwards, suddenly I hit this wall and I've just got to crawl into bed like a bear crawling into his cave to hibernate. I cannot, nothing will stop me getting into bed. I will crawl through fire, flames and raging poisonous gas to sleep after a day of heavy weight training. I don't know what that is. Does anyone else get that? That's pretty much what's going on. And I read online that sleep is so important for people who do a lot of exercise and a lot of training. And really it is. I feel that long sleep was necessary, and I woke up feeling my muscles had absorbed all the nutrients that I ate when I was overeating yesterday, as usual, and it feels like I've got all the nutrition I need and I'm kind of recharged and ready to go. So yeah, what's going on in my life? Hibernation. And from my experience hibernating, I can tell you, you also should hibernate if you do a lot of training, because otherwise you start to pick up injuries and get exhausted. So that's what's going on in my life. And tomorrow is a festival. It's called Summer Sensation, and it's at Shirohana Flower Park, I believe, and beach. So tomorrow I'm DJing there, and the day after tomorrow I'm DJing in the morning. So I've got 2 DJ sets, and it's going to be drum and bass. It's going to be wicked drum and bass, and also my other set's going to be tech house. So yeah, come out and see me if you're around Tokyo. Hit me up, let me know. I can hook you up with some guest list. Now, something I'm loving right now. I guess it would have to be apple cider, because if you have one meal a day, or you try to eat only one meal a day, then you can't really ingest a whole lot that isn't water. But apparently this is all right because it keeps your insulin levels down, which is what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to avoid having high insulin levels and spiking your insulin by eating when you're fasting. So this is some kind of taste other than water that I can enjoy when I intermittent fast. Look at these fuckers. Bragg. I guess this is the Bragg family. Look at this label. It's so old school. Man. Oh, shit. That is just so sour and sharp. Woo, that's got to be good for you. Other than the whole feeling like acid tearing apart your insides, it's got to be good for you. It's got to be good. I was watching something on Joe Rogan. They were saying how this expert was saying all these pungent, potent, sharp ingredients like mustard and vinegar are really good for you. Who knows? I hope so. But I just find it funny because this says since 1912, and there's no way this label was designed to coincide with the modern trend in intermittent fasting and dieting, because now this is almost, you can't hear about fasting without hearing apple cider vinegar. So these people have lucked out. What must have been a very niche, weird product has become something really trendy. And they must, surely they can't believe their luck that now that this vinegar is associated with losing weight, which is the current trend. So I just find that label really funny. They are trying to capitalize on it though. I can read some of their other recommendations and products on the back here. So they're trying to capitalize on it. And obviously they know about the current boom, but yeah, this is one of the most popular apple cider vinegars. Bragg, organic, raw, unfiltered, with the mother. The mother, apparently that's something in there that's good for you. Mums are good, of course. Let me have one more sip. Oh, my God. Yeah, you wouldn't know it looking at my face, but I am loving this right now. That's about all for today. I went by the name of Johnny Massacre. You've been witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show. See you tomorrow.